G'day guys, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this review of yesterday's 36-point win against the Giants. I just want to play you the song in the rooms after the game. Okay, that to me, and I've had. Let's turn that off. I've had. I suppose I've been very fortunate. Not so much anymore, but I did work in radio for 16 years as a boundary rider, and part of that role for me was to go into the winning rooms and sometimes the losing rooms as well, but always the winning rooms with my microphone. And, I had the opportunity to talk to a player and interview a player after the game. But before that was to put the microphone basically right on the shoulder of the player when they link arms, when they belt out that song. So I have heard in the inner sanctum, okay, I suppose, call that the inner sanctum, I have heard many post-game winning teams belting out the song. And I don't, to me, listening to that, and I suppose go and have a look at yourself and just have a look at the expressions on the faces of the players. That's about a 5 out of 10 when you talk about enthusiasm for the song. And I don't know, I just feel that was such an unconvincing performance yesterday against the Giants, and a really undermanned Giants when you think about it. And we've got some players out as well, but if you take into account as well that really their season is done and dusted, interim coach on the road, and they weren't too bad. Look, I thought they would probably be worse than what they were in regards to their effort, but they were okay. But then there's no Whitfield, Green, Kelly, Davis, Hogan didn't play, Perryman. So they had a few out. But it was an unconvincing performance by us. But I suppose the positive from that for me is when I hear that song, it says a couple of things. It says that the players are really, I suppose, disappointed in their efforts. Not so much their efforts, but disappointed in the fact that they probably weren't at their best, and are probably going through a period where we haven't been playing at our best. And I also get the sense that with this playing group right here, right now, is that they are fully aware that they need to be able to go to another level. And I get a sense that we're possibly trying too hard and pushing it a little bit too hard. And I've spoken a little bit about the pressure. And it was really, when you think about this game, we were always going to get the job done. I mean, I watched this game in two parts. I watched the first part live, or the first half of it live at home before I had to go to my son's under-16 game at 2:40. So I left home and we were only less than a goal up. And then I watched the second half on replay when I got home. But not for 1 minute when I left did I ever feel that this game was in danger. And I also get the sense that our players didn't necessarily think that this game was ever in danger as well. And it was similar to what Geelong did to us last week, what we did to the Giants this week. Similar scorelines. Last week was 55-85, a 30-point win to the Cats. They really flexed their muscles. They were far too good. I always knew last week that they had that game in control, and I think they knew it as well. And for us in this game, I think our boys knew that they had it in control, but they they tried so hard. Well, we not say we tried so hard, but it's just not coming together for us at the moment. And you don't, I suppose, scoff at a 36-point win. And that is really comfortable, 90-54. But it just felt like we made really, really hard work of it. Really hard work of it. But I'm going to be bloody honest and bloody frank here. Regardless of I said I had a feeling we might blow this team out of the water. And what I mean by blow this team out of the water was probably a 60-plus win. 36 is really comfortable. But I was never really learning much out of this win, even if we smashed the living suitcases out of the Giants yesterday. And the same would have been said with a 36-point win or a 20-point win or a 15-point win, okay? I was never taking a lot away from this game. And I get the sense, I also get the sense is that that's where our group is at the moment. And I know we haven't been in this situation for a very long time. And this is a group, okay, that's on the verge of playing finals football and we're not there yet. So there's plenty to play out for the rest of the year. But because on the back of that loss against Geelong last week, who are now the benchmark in the competition, come out and then have to play against the Giants, and no disrespect to them, because I've mentioned that is just exactly where they're at the moment. Season done and dusted, players out, interim coach, nothing to play for. Okay, so what was our motivational levels like yesterday in that regard? And I've got to admit, from a supporter point of view, I was relatively bored from start to finish. And I'm not bored with winning. For one moment, I'm not bored with winning. I'm actually, right here, right now, with 4 games remaining, I'm a little bit bored with who we beat. And I understand each win is important, okay, to establish ourselves in the top 8 and also the prospect of hanging on to a chance of being top 4. But I don't know, I'm just going to learn a hell of a lot more about this team. Not yesterday, probably not this week against the Crows. And we got 2 games like that in a row. It comes the following week for me against Brisbane. It comes then against Melbourne. And it comes against the Pies before we get the chance to play on the real, okay, we play September finals football. So that's the way I see it. And I think Patrick Cripps is a perfect example of that at the moment, our skipper. Now, you look at Cripper and you look at his game. If you hadn't watched the game, you look at 34 disposals, but you sort of scroll across to, I think it was 46% disposal efficiency. But if you look just quickly, 34 disposals and a goal. He's only had the 4 clearances. But you look at those stats and you think, well, that's a really good game, and you expect him to be in the votes. But I thought it was it was just a just game by Patrick Cripps. I thought he made a lot of mistakes, but it was also almost like at the moment I'm thinking people are saying he's a tad selfish, but I actually think it's the opposite. I actually think he's pushing it too much. He's trying too hard. Okay, because I think he's in a little bit of a form slump at this time of year. I just think he's trying too hard to get back into form, and with that comes trying different things. And I feel like some of our players are in that situation at the moment. We've got some players in super form. And none other than Adam Asada, I thought was absolutely outstanding yesterday. That game yesterday by Adam Asada was as good a game that any of our players have played in 2022. But this is a team sport. And let's not forget, this was against the Giants. The week before, and Sard's been outstanding. This is not a knock on him, but the week before, he was relatively quiet against the Cats. So I'm thinking for Sard, I want to see this type of blistering performance against the best. And I truly think it can be a game breaker against the best. But we haven't necessarily been able to see it so far this year, because really it's taken a fair chunk of time before we've even played Geelong, Brisbane, and also Melbourne. And I consider them at this stage to still be probably the three best teams in the competition. Okay, so we're going to still find a hell of a lot about this team moving forward. So I don't know, and I just feel that we're still finding so much about this group at the moment, and it was an uncomfortable watch. It was a really uncomfortable watch on the fact that it didn't really matter what we did yesterday. I suppose that's what I'm trying to get across here. It wouldn't have mattered what we done yesterday. I just don't think we were ever going to be, or me in particular, was never going to be convinced by this performance, other than the fact that we have to see it as a positive. Because in the past, mentally, we mightn't have been up to the challenge of coming out in a dead rubber, which I thought, a dead rubber for them, and being able to put them away in the second half, which we did. But I think we're still battling away to try and find our best. I don't know. I don't know what our best looks like, to be perfectly honest, because I still see a lot of holes. I really do. I still see certain parts of our game that are going to have to improve drastically to be, I suppose, contenders when finals arrive. Because the big question mark on us will be, can we do it for long enough under the heat and the pressure of the really good sides? And I think that's been a bit of a concern for us since the bye. Even in the games against the Pies and Richmond and St Kilda, when they brought the heat, okay, we weren't able to sustain and play really good football for longer than what we've been able to do against the likes of the West Coast Eagles and also Essendon a few weeks back or a month back, whenever that was, and also yesterday against the Giants. But the outlier, I suppose, was that really good performance against the Dockers, where we played 4 quarters. But I'm bloody excited. I still am really excited to see what we can do moving forward, particularly this year. And from an individual point of view, I didn't think there was, other than Saad, there was any real standouts. It's good to see. It's good to see the wings. We often speak about our wings, and we had that 3 rotation with Cottrell and O'Brien in Setterfield. But this is a step back in class, playing against the Giants away from their home. This is a step back in class. We're not finding a hell of a lot from that performance of Setterfield, O'Brien, and Cottrell in this game. Okay? We just can't. We just can't get too carried away with those performances. I thought Walsh was good. He, particularly in that third quarter, he really lifted under considerable amount of pressure with his ankle injury. The Twin Towers worked their ass off in the front half. Charlie and Harry. I thought actually Harry was outstanding. He probably didn't get the reward on the scoreboard, which Charlie did. But I thought they both worked brilliantly in tandem. I love when they really push up the ground and provide that outlet. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like when Pitnet does come back. Will that be as early as next week? Will that enable Jack to then become that third tall? I just don't think it works at this moment. I think we've had to do it. Without Charlie, or not Charlie, without Pitnet being there in that rotation with TDK. But I think hopefully we'll start to see the best of that forward line when we can keep our structure in the front half. And there's still questions and queries on that young trio of small forwards. They show a little bit. Durden, I don't think he's going to be a really good player. I think Motlop's going to be a really good player. I still have question marks on Josh Honey. Thought he was a lot better yesterday. But does that young trio, can that hold up? Can that hold up? We're just going to have to wait and see, because we can't be just reliant okay, on Charlie Curnow and also Big Harry, because we need to have multiple goal kickers. Yeah, and I just feel at times that we're probably not getting bang for buck at this stage from our small forwards. I love the return of Mitch McGovern. I just thought he looked really steady. I thought he got better as the game went on. I think he looks super fit. But I'm not getting hell of a lot. I suppose I'm excited about what he can do for us, but I'm not getting too carried away considering he just hasn't been able to be durable. But he looks fit. And you can see the value of having him down there. I actually thought our best two defenders yesterday were Adam Sard and Lockie Plowman. I thought Plowman was really good. I thought he was actually really good. And you got to take your hat off to him. I thought he was steady, didn't make any mistakes. I actually think Weeders looks a little bit rusty at the moment, just trying to find his best form. And I thought that was the worst performance I've seen from Lewis Young. Thought he wasn't great last week against Jeremy Cameron. He's just gone off the boil for the last three weeks. He's been caught between a rock place between spoiling and going for his grabs, and his spoils aren't effective. And he's just a little bit wobbly in the air. So it's a close watch on Lewis Young moving forward. But look, you're not going to knock a four points at this time of year, and for us and where we're at. I don't know, but I'll keep saying this. I know we got Adelaide this week at the Adelaide Oval, and that could be a tricky game. Not finding much more about this team until we face the best, and that's what we want to be doing right here, right now. And I get a sense that the players are preparing for that as well. They're preparing for what it's going to be like against the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba, and then Melbourne, and then Collingwood, then finals. That's what they're preparing for. And this was a hard grind yesterday, both physically and also emotionally. Catch you soon.